the center of District 1. We're excited to have you all here as we're doing our town halls. And we're going to try to fill you with a lot of information, but then leave room for questions as well. I did want to first make sure everyone knows we have our District 1 rep here, Tina Herbert, our at-large member, Dr. Aditi Bussells, and Edward McDowell, Reverend Ed McDowell, District 2. Also want to recognize our staff. We have our city manager, Teresa Wilson, here, our assistant city managers, Missy Kaufman, Clint Sheely, Jeff Palin, who else from the city? Ryan Coleman from Economic Development's here. Miss Benjamin over here. We got the mayor's staff. We got the chief of police, the fire chief, all other city staff. Stand up and recognize, because I can't see everybody from here. Thank you. We also have a special guest in the back who's hiding, Miss Tyler Little from Richland County Council. Tyler, you can stand up and wave at everybody. I see you back there. It's great to have everybody here, and we wouldn't be here with it without having an incredible staff. And I just wanted to talk a little bit, start off in the beginning, and I had to take notes this year because so much is going on. But I did want to talk a little bit here in the beginning about how we really focus on Together We Are Columbia, and how we've been working on really embracing the history, the diversity, the hospitality, the natural environment, and the innovation of our city, the capital city here, and how we've been embracing all the way across and really marketing and showing people who Columbia is, because people now know where Columbia, South Carolina is. They know what we have to offer. They know about the people. They're seeing the investment. They're seeing the growth, but they're also coming here. There are 28 people moving to the Midlands on a daily basis. So everywhere from Lexington to Camden, people are moving. They've discovered what we all had found out long ago, that we're an incredible place. But we've invested heavily into our public relations, moving to make sure that we're sharing information all the way across the board, doing everything from celebrating and with our different festivals, making sure we're getting information out, but also bringing awareness from our Go Red campaign to our mayor's campaign against domestic violence, our campaign against breast cancer. But we're continuing to grow, talking about all the things across our city, making sure that our impressions have increased, that engagement has increased. Where's Miss Veronica? Is she here tonight? No. She's outside doing it. Miss Veronica is our one-man band when it comes to making sure that messages get out. She does an incredible job in our communities. Give her a hand. But we're also taking a lot of pride. We're talking about really priding and sharing our community. When we're out marketing, we're talking about the quality of life, about the opportunities that are here. No matter where you live or who you are, you have an opportunity in Columbia. But we've also done some stuff about celebrating. The unveiling of the Dawn Staley statue this year, which was a great opportunity where we got invited by another community foundation that matched money if we raised it to talk about inequality and why it's important. And Dawn Staley agreed to do this statue under one reason and one reason only, so that young women could see no matter what, you have an opportunity. And Columbia has given her that opportunity, and we're embracing it. And we're just very happy. And then our own Craig Melvin, of course, who talks about Columbia all the time. And there's a rumor that they may be coming down here to film some stuff to talk about his hometown even more. But he mentions us, he talks about he's been an incredible ambassador from the time he left WIS to go to Washington, D.C., to now being in New York in everybody's living room every morning. And then, of course, we had an opportunity to get some nationwide with our game day. And it was so interesting to listen to the game day team as they talked about. Pat said to Nick, he said, Nick, I would have never picked Columbia, South Carolina to go to. He said, but this is a college town. The people here are so hospitable. The food's incredible. The atmosphere is great. I got to ride around this community. This is a community where I could live. And if I could have taped all that, I would be running that on national television on ads, because I think it truly shows when people get to know who we are, what kind of community you are, they love it. But we're going to move on to rural economic development. As we continue to plan for the future, invest in increasing our density downtown, opening up housing options, but also planning. You know, one of the challenges that we had, as we said, over the next day, we need 1,600 units. We need 1,600 doors across our community on an average to keep up with pace. Well, last year we came pretty close to that. We had over 622 new multifamily units and close to 800 and something single-family units permitted and built in our community. But we're not stopping there. We're investing ourselves. We're building houses. With the help from our state, we were able to get $5 million that we were able to invest back into the community. Over 50 homes that got weatherization, new roofs, new windows, new air conditioning, new kitchens, new wiring, new plumbing. We were able to tear some houses down and rebuild those houses. Make those affordable. It allowed us to create a program. Now we're taking the lots we know, create up first-time home buyers for under $200,000, 1,300 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, all brick, by partnering with folks, thanks to U.S. Brick, but also bringing mortgage rate that's affordable, working with Founders Bank to bring mortgage rates, even if your credit is spotty or bad, at the maximum of 6.5% for 30 years. And if your credit's even better, it gets lower. Opening up opportunities that we didn't have before. One house, one neighborhood at a time. Why is that important? Because we got to build back our density in our downtown. There are over 2,100 empty lots across our community. We want more grocery stores. We want more retail. We want more service, but we can't have that if we don't have the density. All of those businesses drive by customer counts, and density is important for that. So we're doing our part, planting those seeds across the city. If it's in Booker, Washington Heights, it's in the Belmont neighborhood, the Belvedere neighborhood, or even our Martin Luther King neighborhood. We're building those one by one, creating home ownership opportunities, but then working to make sure that we have workforce housing in our downtown area. As we take the properties that we own and put those back out there, investing heavily to make sure and partnering with the right folks. That's why Operation Dream Key is part of that. But when you look at those numbers, just last year, that was over 300 million just in housing and permits. Business licensing, we had 1,500 new business licenses. That means 1,500 people started a small, medium, or even large business in our community that wasn't there last year. We've been doing that on a consistent basis. Why? Because we made it easy for people to do business in Columbia. We have our OBO office that's doing incredible work with our small businesses. Hosted over 200 attendees at the Small Business Week. Had over 30 vendors at our Food Truck Fridays. Partnering with Tom's Creek to bring in our mobile market, along with our project that is called National Attention, filling the gap with Instacart, as we get those together, hosting workshops and events with over 3,000 attendees, creating opportunities. 5 disadvantaged business enterprises projects were awarded over $17 million. That's 1.4 million, or 8.5 to minority and women-owned businesses. 14 mentor protege programs awarding $25 million in projects. 22% awarded to proteges. So we're continuing to grow that that segment in that market, making sure that our outreach is reaching those folks. Then we look at Bull Street, at the growth that we see at Bull Street. Gather Columbia, the School of Medicine, the new neurological hospital, the new announcement of Nuvaan and their new hospital and their new health campus coming there. Hotels like the Shepherd Hotel, which is a sister hotel to the one in Clemson that embraces the bridge program at USC. Excited about this project because the success that we've seen in Clemson and what it's going to bring here. Major housing announcements from Gateway 37, Live on Main, 222 Main Street, Divine and Height, The Verve, Palmetto Place. It's continuing. We're seeing it left and right. Grocery stores, as we look at Walmart, made $40 million worth of investment in our community, and knock on wood that we're going to have a grocery store surprise announcement here in the next couple months. Over 35 ribbon cuttings of new businesses, brick and mortar, and some of those graduating from our Soda City. But we're not stopping there. We're going to continue to invest and attract businesses as our incubator is growing. The innovation of 221 Divine Street that's going to bring over 150 to 200 tech jobs into it. Announcements of several headquarters that are now coming here. If it's Finergy with its battery operation making their North American headquarters in Columbia. Why? We competed against Austin, Dallas, Atlanta, and others. This is where they felt the most comfortable, where they felt the relationships from the university and the community all happening here. But we're going to continue to move forward, investing in every corner, planting those seeds, making sure. Founders Bank, who we're working with, going to build a branch in this neighborhood. Why? Because we ask them to do that. That's what they do. When they come into a community, they invest with the community. I talked a little bit about Project Dream. Strategically plan investing in growing our housing stock to mitigate the shortage that we have and taking care of the opportunity. Those 2,100 lots across the city are important for us as we look to fill those 15,000 units that we need. And we need not just single-family homes. We need duplexes. We need townhomes. We need quadruplexes, 12plexes. We need a combination of stuff. We need a multifamily. Trying to get units where we're building units that are manageable, that we talk about the quality of life and the quality of the material. No longer giving incentive just to somebody when they use the word durable. We're really focused on quality housing and uplifting that. Our community development celebrated 50 years, received $3.7 million in federal funds and block grant, home investment, and HOPWA. Awarded $1.5 million in CBG funds to subsidiaries, awarded $1.8 in HOPWA funds, $3.4 in home funds, to build 9 single-family homes as part of that, and also Homeless No More to provide financial assistance to 20 affordable rental units with a community center and a daycare. Assisted 18 neighborhoods, providing $1,800 to support their community efforts. Love Your Block dispersed up to $29,000. Assisted 878 residents with customer assistance programs to create financial assistance with their water and sewer, dispersing over $450,000, giving back to our community. They attended over 85 neighborhood meetings. And then we take the other part to that community development, our subset, our CEZ and our TN development. CEZ working on the station at Congaree Point on Atlas Road, serving and transforming 23 acres in a viable project. It's a collaborative effort between state, local, and city, community-based partners. The Huffman House grand opening, capital improvements to revitalize the North Main Plaza, community improvements to our Lady Street Suites, where we have small businesses growing and growing here. TN with their groundbreaking at Lower Waverly and the Jones McDonald, developing and continuing to go across in the Pinehurst neighborhood, engaging and building multiple family options for people in these communities. Our parks and recs, and I'm going to go through a lot of this because there's so much information, folks. We've had a banner year. Launched the Park and Play Recreation Van, impacting over 450 kids. Why is this important? Because these were in neighborhoods where we didn't have traditional parks, so that kids could have the same opportunity to get outside and engage, be able to try to exercise and play games and engage with our park staff. Completing the 10-year master plan, installing 2 of the 4 Prisma Health fitness courts, first one in Greenview and Findlay, 2 more coming this fall to Rosewood Park and Wood. This is an opportunity for people to have an exercise program outside. With a scan of your phone, you have all these different options. This also was another grant opportunity. By taking it, we got grant money to help with that, and then Prisma Health coming in and sponsoring those. New playground equipment in Hyatt Park, Melrose Park, and Hampton. The revitalization of Mays Park. And then, of course, Findlay Park, which by November, if it quits raining, we're going to have this incredible active part of our downtown center, which is unbelievable when you see it. I encourage you to ride by and see it. We're going to have this park that's activated, that people will be able to enjoy everything from plays to music to outdoor exercise to disc golf to climbing. Just walking around there is serene. Todd Martin from our Parks and Recs did an unbelievable job with our construction partners. I think people will be completely pleased with it. Mays Park, if you haven't been by there, the day it opened, it has been packed. People playing basketball, playing sports, playing tennis, walking, exercising, using the splash pad, engaging what we wanted it to be, part of our community. But then we don't stop, because we go to Public Works, and our Public Works, responding to over 250 calls during the Hurricane Helene, removing over 30,000 yards of debris from our streets. And these teams worked tirelessly to do that. We haven't been hit like something like that since Hugo, and they came to work without thinking twice, making sure that they're addressing it. We're finishing the stages for our Welcome to Columbia sign that we've all been talking about forever. You actually will come into Columbia being welcomed. Not only do they have to wait, they don't have to wait till they meet you, they get to see it when they come in. You know, working on our barriers as well between our Public Works and our safety, so that we don't have to use garbage trucks to protect our festivals. You know, it's sad that we have to think that way, but what we didn't want to happen is what happened in New Orleans or any other city. We want to make sure that every festival, every event, that our citizens feel safe and protected. Animal Services ended 2024 with a record-breaking live release rate of 83%. That is a big step for us. And we're going to continue to improve. Our next investment is to improve that Animal Services, get us a retail location where adoption can be part of the play, where fostering can be a better part of the play. I want to thank our students at USC, Alan and Benedict, who have stepped up and doing a lot of our fostering program and really helping us get through as we wait to get dogs to adoption. Forest and beautification, along with Columbia Green and Beat the Heat grant, planted more than 1,500 trees in our community. That's why, folks, we are the only Gold LEED certified city in South Carolina. We're one of 40 cities across the country, and these are the things that make the difference. We've had an opportunity to plant both on property, private property and public property. And once again, Tree City USA for the last 45 years. So hopefully next year we'll get 46. Our Sustainability Office awarded climate pollution reduction grant for planning of $1 million, and an implementation grant for 8.7, and the COG is managing this for the city and our regional partners. We are making a difference. Bloomberg gave us a Youth Action Climate grant of $50,000 that allowed us to get a second round of $100,000. We have students both at the college and our high school and our elementary level participating in the future. Why is it important? Because we want to protect our natural assets, and all of us want to do that together. We hosted the first ever Columbia Earth Day Action Fair Council in conjunction with Soda City. We had 300 to 500 visitors, which was incredible, because Soda City is such an attraction that people took the time to stop and participate. We're only going to grow that through all the work that we're doing. Our Columbia Water and Engineering lead in construction in-house for 2 streets and city projects, 7 storm drain improvement projects, 12 wastewater projects, 34 water projects, supported construction for other departments, 1 park project, 34 waste projects, and 11 water projects. We're continuing to invest in our system, improve it. As we go through, we have over 150,000 water customers. We're continuing to invest in our system, taking that money to improve and protect, with the canal plant being, our canal being redone, and our alternative water source and the redundancy that we have from our Lake Murray plant. Our water system is protected. So when you get a rumor mill Instagram text that says fill your bathtub, you don't need to fill your bathtub. We got you covered, okay? Don't do it. We've got you covered. Because of those investments and the things that we've learned, I want to thank Congressman Clyburn. I want to thank Senator Graham, because they really helped us with FEMA and FERC to get to the point where our canal is being rebuilt, getting that money, getting through the FEMA and FERC so that we will be able to have our final piece done there, and that alternative water force giving us that extra piece of protection. Our strategic vision that we came up as a council and along with our senior staff. Our new police headquarters is finishing, along with our emergency center, our 221 technology hub that we're partnering with the private sector to bring those tech hubs and that innovation, that cybersecurity. Those are jobs. There are 2.3 million jobs in cybersecurity out there right now. And the growing, we have people here who have created defense models and coding working for our Defense Department. The Department of Navy loaning us 13,000 patents for that incubator to be part, so that we can partner with our university and our colleges. As you know, a lot of them are investing heavily in cybersecurity, including Benedict and the University of South Carolina. Putting those excess properties out, Bull and Taylor, Washington Square, Main and Law, putting those out for development, getting them back on the tax rack, creating opportunities for more downtown living, from workforce housing to market rate, making sure that we're covering all the aspects. Awarded $204 million through our government relations from the government for the rail realignment on Assembly Street, creating that safety and opening it up, along with $80 million from our local partners and from the state. Receiving $3.3 million from our local fund from our General Assembly, continuing to keep the money going and advocating for projects to be finished in this community. The Richland County penny sales tax referendum that passed. This is the key for our infrastructure, for our roads. Our 10-year road plan is included in that, along with our opportunity to partner with the state. You've seen a lot about the DOT talking about how that they can get back together and then move back working with us. So trying to continue to engage with that. Making sure that those projects address the needs from our sidewalks to our roads. Continuing to invest in the Greenway and the other projects. But that's not all. Popular or unpopular, parking rates did go up. But that's because this is an enterprise fund so that we can invest in the future, create better quality. These are the type of things we can't wait for 20 years to change. We should have been changing them over a period of time. We need that investment. We need to continue to invest in our parking system, so our garages, making it easier for people to get there, creating opportunities. But remember, we still got free parking options at night and on weekends. There are opportunities everywhere. Before I start talking a little bit about what we're investing, I'd love for my council members to jump in wherever they'd like. Yes, sir.
Testing. Hello. Hello. First of all, I want to say thanks to our mayor for allowing us to come together during this town forum to talk through issues that are in our city. Our staff has played an instrumental part in helping us, and when I say us, our colleagues and our mayor, to navigate some of the challenges that are out there. One of the things I want to say, and I want to say very forcefully, this is a great city. Amen. This is a great city. We have our challenges, but of course, even with our challenges, we are able to navigate and do those things that are necessary for kingdom building. There are several things that I'd like to lift up, Mr. Mayor, if I could.
Absolutely.
I need to leave at 6:30. So I promise you, I won't be long. But there are several things I need to lift up as it relates to District 2. District 2 is a premier district. And I'm sure Tina's going to say the same thing. A premier district. I have my president, one of my presidents here tonight with us, Ms. Regina Williams. And if there are other presidents in any the other communities, would you just lift your hands? Well, I thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. But there are several things we sort of horned in on as we talked about issues in District 2. One of the things that we talked about was the whole health narrative. The health narrative. As you know, 29203 has been designated as the amputee capital of the world. 29203. This past summer, we tested over 3,000 persons for diabetes, hypertension, and stroke potential. We tested those things. We wanted to make sure that if our city is going to be a vibrant, lively city, it needs to be a safe city and a healthy city. So we promoted healthy eating. Isn't it great to know that an apple is in my car every day? Not because I put it there, because my wife puts it there. Thank you all for being a premier district. Affordable housing, particularly in Booker, Washington, particularly in Belvedere. Over $4 million was spent to renovate, to stick build, to provide essentials for persons in this area. Great, but we aren't through yet. We continue to make improvements within our city. Tina is going to be talking about some of those things that are a part of District 1. And of course, we've already gone through District 2. We just looking for some more money. Thank you all so much. The other thing that I want to mention is Finley Park. Isn't it great? Come on now, isn't it great? November has been designated, as the mayor stated just a moment ago, has been designated as the opening of Finley Park. It's a grand, beautiful place. You would not recognize Finley Park. And guess what? It's not just for certain folk, it's a public park. It's for everybody. And when it's for everybody, we intend to make this a statement within the fabric of the city, in the city of Columbia. The other thing is, Mr. Mayor, can I say this? Founders Credit Union. Can I say a word? Yeah. Founders Credit Union is one of the most innovative processes within the banking community. Founders Credit, if you haven't joined, join. $5. I can't talk about the program if I didn't join myself. I joined. No credit check, 6.5% interest, no PMI. Somebody ought to say amen. That's preaching, isn't it? Somebody ought to say amen. Founders has been very deliberate and very intentional about the possibility of creating homes within our city of Columbia. It's great. The Housing Authority has created 2 developments, one the Oaks on Forest Drive and the other on Two Notch Road. Beautiful places to live in. Now, Mr. Mayor, having said all of that, I'd just like to simply say thank you for your leadership. Thank you for what you do for this city. Thank you for all the things and the creative ideas that you've made mention of. And thank you for being you. It's a difference in just being a politician, just being you.
Thank you.
And we thank you for that.
Thank you for all you do.
City Manager, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, and I'm going to have to leave. Thank you all so very, very much.
Well, I mean, you want to take on the section?
I was going to talk about
Okay.
Just don't speak at one time.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to run through a couple more, and then I'm going to pass off a couple to both of my colleagues here. I did want to talk about investing. We made a commitment to invest in our folks, in our city, in our parks, and in our employees, and we've done that. We've seen a decrease in vacancies across the city. Our Human Resources Department's doing an incredible job. We've seen a lot more people engaging with our career fairs, with the way we've listened to our employees about how we're hiring and the changes we made. We've seen it across the board from Columbia Water to every department, from risk management to solid waste. We made technology improvements in the municipal court with our court funds program to disperse jury pay, leading to cost savings and decreased efficiencies. Our IT department, when they implemented My COLA SC, if you're not up on COLA SC, you better be up on COLA SC. It is a great way, My COLA SC is a great way to communicate and get communication back, report things. It is a great service. It was a gap we needed. Our team came through with it. We were so excited with it. And obviously, we're continuing to invest in our police department, in our partnerships with our Town and Gown Advisory, Dream Key, our vision for housing across the board, Columbia Streams Art, where we're engaging. We have the new iPhone movie festival contest out now. Everything from our trouts to our turtles, which you might see those turtles pop up somewhere else. Our talent fair that we partnered with, our chamber, but also our internship fair. We found out that a lot of our young talent truly didn't know what jobs were available in Columbia. And we had our first annual collegiate intern fair, and 150 different businesses showed up. I'm hoping that we grow that and we get more and more people there, because it is really one of those things that will help us keep that talent here, which housing is one of it. And understanding the jobs and the opportunity right here in their backyard. I'm going to kick it over to Councilwoman Bussells talk about our homeless services, and then we're going to talk a little bit about our police department and the great things that are happening with public safety.
Well, thank you for having us, and thank you all for being here. It's great to be having a town hall in my neighborhood, go Earlewood, and great to see representation here as well. So all of you, I think, can see through all of the accomplishments and projects that are underway that the mayor has touched on, is, this council has been very intentional about focusing on quality of life and ensuring that regardless of what corner of the city you live in, you are going to live in a community that is safe, that is, walkable, that is full of activities and jobs, and that takes time. And so I would say over this past year, it's been really great to see some of the things that we laid the foundation for over the last 3 or 4 years come to fruition, whether it is, bringing in new investment, whether it's being able to repave sidewalks or bring in parks or bring the park to you if there's not a park in your specific neighborhood, and then continuing to sustain some of the work that we did right after COVID, this council, looking at creative ways in which when the ARPA dollars went away, how are we going to continue to sustain some of the work, including, our homeless services work? And so I'm very proud to share that we have now officially housed 100 residents into permanent housing through Rapid Shelter Columbia. And with any large-scale, complex problem, as you all know, as a public health person, I know that we have to celebrate those incremental and small wins along the way. There's much more work to be done, and a lot of work that you all often don't see in terms of addressing issues like homelessness or public safety or food insecurity. And so our work continues in terms of determining ways in which we can continue to sustain Rapid Shelter Columbia in a climate that, the homeless strategy has changed very much so. Looking at ways in which we can advocate to our federal legislators to get a direct allocation of funding to support our work, and work alongside our providers to determine and continue to address some of the gaps we're seeing in terms of outreach or just lack of trust or resistance to engaging in services. And so, that work continues. It takes time, but know that we are always open to your ideas, thoughts, and feedback as we continue to seek ways in which we can ensure that no one has to live on the street.
Well, I want to add to that, part of our investment, not only in Rapid Shelter, but our investment in our police department with our pathway units. They've had almost 1,200 calls, 113 referrals from that health team that's embedded in our police department. And our police department has worked with over 43 different homeless camps to get them cleared and cleaned and get people into the services they need. Over 15,000 property checks. 1,200 transports to the Rapid Shelter and the Overflow Shelter. Our officers working hand in hand with the community to improve that. But folks, we got to work together. It's time for everybody to come together and come up with a permanent solution to truly address and make sure that we're getting people the help that they need, the wraparound services, and the housing. And that's going to take all of us come together. We've tried several times to put things forth. They haven't. Now is the time for us to come together. No more excuses, and this is our challenge for our community, is to work together to make this happen. I also want to talk a little bit about our Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. This started off as violent crime reduction office, basically, is what we were doing because of the rapid of shootings and things that we saw out there. And I want to thank Dr. Forum for his work that he's done. We're seeing an incredible engagement. Had over 9,100 residents to date engaging in everything from the 4-block promise to attending training opportunities to community-based training, meeting with our youth and listening to them about what their needs are and what we can do to improve. Securing federal funding, almost $700,000 of external funding coming into that office to support those programs. That's just not done by somebody sitting behind a desk. That's done by somebody who is working in the community and making a difference, bringing the partners together. Our police department, Chief Holbrook is here, can never thank him enough for the tireless work that our officers do. We're still fighting recruitment. Yeah, that is worth a clap. Amen to that. The tireless work that they do, and still, we're not fully staffed, folks, when we're trying everything we can, so we're supplementing with training, good old-fashioned police work, but using technology and equipment and the training that we're giving our officers to make a difference. Homicides, down. Auto break-ins, down. Shootings, down. Crime across the board, down. Why? Because we're engaged. We're engaged. Double-digit reduction in traffic fatalities, and we could even do more with that. If we can get more technology, we need our legislature to allow us to use red light cameras and speed cameras in school zones and work zones. Would really help us. Red light cameras. An average officer works in accidents an hour and a half. I'd rather have that officer protecting your front door than going because somebody decided to run a red light. There are opportunities there. We're continuing to invest in that training and the technology you talked about as our headquarters are coming online, but in the equipment that our officers have day in and day out. We're making sure that what they have, not only from the latest invests in camera and computers, but to mental health and to health. Mental health today is a bigger component of what all our employees need, and having that so that they have the ability to get the help when they need it. Because if you haven't had an opportunity to go out there and see what our officers do on a day-to-day basis, I encourage you to do it and talk to them, because we have. And what they go through on a day-to-day and the things that they come upon and the things that they have to carry around them, they also need support. So we want to make sure they have that. Our fire department has done over almost 40,000 service calls, 576 structure fires. You don't hear about all those, but these guys are out there putting out fires. They're out there also supporting EMS, 23,000 calls for EMS service that they have been part of. They're out there at the first stretch, working hand in hand. We've upgraded our fleets. We're continuing to replace those vehicles across. Our guys are in the fire prevention unit, a total of 5,800 fire and life safety inspections, 203 site visits, 200 free smoke alarms given out to folks in need across our city. Engage. Our fire chief is here, who seems to be everywhere. They call him the ubiquitous one, which we know why. But we appreciate it, the dedication that our city staffs do all the way across. Our emergency management, who are behind there making sure that when those storms are coming through and those flooding opportunities, they are here to make sure that they're communicating, being the quarterback to protect our city. But that's just one of many things that we keep doing. And we're doing it together. And I just wanted to highlight a few of those before we get to questions, but I do have some highlights from the District 1. If you would like to do that, Madam Councilwoman from the district.
I will do what I am asked to do. Yes, sir, Mayor. One of the things, we always look at investment and looking at how things are being invested into our district. We did the Cottontown Water Main Upgrade Project. We also did Willow Run, which is a little further down the street, but it was an area where they had these constant problems in the apartments, and they were calling our staff over and over again, and so we finally fixed those problems. With respect to economic development, we're looking forward to a Trader Joe's on Harbison Boulevard, as well as the Right Dose Corporation, which is a $95 million expansion project adjacent to the Midlands Tech Northeast Campus. We're also, of course, long-awaited 2222 Main View Apartments, the former Jim Moore Cadillac.
Yes. Is been waiting a long time for that one.
And I think that's also a testament that it does take time sometimes. You know, we may have plans to do things in 2 years and it takes 10, but we're getting it, so I'm excited about that. We're looking at a Marriott Studio Res at the Columbiana Mall, and we've had several ribbon cuttings that Mayor Rickenmann has had with Forged and Bibbo Box. I said that right?
You did.
And so what I want to kind of close out with is I hope, first of all, Mayor, thank you for making sure we take a little moment just to think about what we have done. For us as council folks, it's always going to the next project, or completing the next stage and completing the next stage. And I do think that it is important, not only for you all, but for us to kind of have a moment to say, this is what we've done. Not that we're stopping, but this is what we've done, and this is where we're going. And what I took from it is all the various parts and all the various people that we're impacting. So from Parks and Rec, we had the Park and Play van. Well, that's ideally for children. And we talk about when we tell our kids, don't do this, don't do that, but we have to give them something to do. And so I think that's a perfect example. And then we have the Randall Park that is coming, and in Finley Park, which is for entire families and for entertainment. I remember 2000, I would hang out at Finley Park, and I remember when I couldn't, just to be very honest. And so one thing that we're doing is maintaining the assets that we have, because it's not just about building them, but it's also about making sure that we're maintaining them in a usable way. 2221 Devon Street in the incubator. I love that because it's so critical, because another sector is our young knowledge economy, our college students. They need to know that when they graduate, Columbia is an option. And I think that we're doing a better job by showing them through job opportunities as well as housing opportunities that Columbia is a place to stay. And that's personal to me because my daughter is around that age, and she didn't think Columbia was a place to come back to, a place to stay. So I love when I hear the new announcements that we're having, and the economic development that we're doing, and the housing. One thing I do want to reiterate is that all people are not looking for the same type of housing. And so our young generation is looking for something totally different than our senior generation, and it is important for us to have rental, ownership, all types of opportunity to meet the needs for all sectors of our folks. I also want to mention one of the calls I got, again, another sector, a business person saying how easy it was to renew his business license. Just simple things, but there are various people and various groups that we're impacting. And your home is your sanctuary. And so being able to invest in people's homes, especially when they're not able to, is such a big contributor to the quality of life. We've been in some of those homes. Some of the homes folks had illnesses. If you went into some of the homes, you could see what the contributors were. And so being able to help people have a sanctuary that feels more like a sanctuary and safe has really been, I think, monumental. And I want to thank you for helping us lead us in that direction. And then one note I made, homicide clearance rate, 100%. That means that when we have a homicide, we are actually finding the people who did it. Chief Holbrook. Because, I mean, there are a lot of things that go unsolved, but that means that we're getting the most dangerous of the dangerous off of the streets because we are finding those folks. And so, Mayor Rickenmann, thank you for the opportunity. I want to say, let's continue to highlight what we're doing. We're going to keep working. And I like finishing projects that we started, even if we started them 20 years ago. I'm not joking. The $1 million, I'm not joking, but going back and finishing projects, because one of our colleagues always says that's how we build trust with the community. When we say we're going to do something, and then we get a chance to do it, whether it's 2 years or 10 years or 20 years. But finishing projects, I think, has been very rewarding, and our community is going to benefit from it.
It reminds me a little bit, so Mayor Riley in Charleston, he made a statement, and he said, I'd rather take 10 years to get a project done than 100 years to unwind it. I think we've done that a little bit on some projects here, but we're getting there in these projects. The investments that we're making today are going to really brighten our future. And I know that Reverend McDowell had to run, but I did just want to run through just quickly from an economic standpoint in District 2 of what's happening. I mean, obviously there have been several water projects that we've had on Hardin Street and Benedict, and the ADA compliance work that we've been doing there, and some of the streetscaping. But I mean, think about this. We're investing in a municipal complex under our city manager's leadership. They'll bring all of our staff together in one place where they can work more effectively and efficiently. And it's an incredible investment. But then you got the Live Columbia, which is $225 million. The Palmetto Citizens new tower, that's $65 million. The School of Medicine, $350 million. The new neurological hospital at $150 million. You know, we've got Gather Columbia in the Bull Street district at 30,000 square feet of food hall and 8,000 square feet of space for people to do pop-ups. The Shepherd Hotel, or the new name, I think they're calling it the Lantern now, being down in the Vista, that's a whole nother $55 million worth of investments. The Gateway project that the university put in. But then you just look at all the other investment, the corner of Elmwood, the corner of Blossom and UG Street, those two corners alone adds another $600 million. Folks, people are coming to Columbia and they're investing and they're helping us build what we need, which is housing across the board. The opportunities we have with the property that we're selling, those opportunities to create more housing, the workforce housing, making sure that when we have job opportunities, because if you want a job today in Columbia, South Carolina, you can get it. Everybody's hiring, including the city of Columbia. So there should be no excuse for somebody to say they don't have an opportunity here. But we're continuing to see people move back downtown. We have an opportunity. District 1 lost about 9.5% of its population over the last decade. We're seeing that switch now. People coming to invest. That's why we're planting the seeds with the houses we're building. Those first 19 that we're building over in the Belmont neighborhood, the Booker Washington Heights, building houses in there, planting the seed, but also showing people what we expect in quality of housing. Brick. We don't need the term durable. We need quality housing. We want to uplift our neighborhoods, and how we can do that is by taking advantage and leveraging. We're looking at things creatively through public-private partnerships so that we can do the things that we need to get done, because if we just wait around for federal money and others, we'll never be able to get projects done. We won't be able to improve the quality of life, because our goal at council is to have the #1 city in South Carolina, but not by population, by quality of life. And when you tie all these projects, and they all have finished, from Bull Street to the Greenway to the riverfront, where we're excited. We had 19 different people put in proposals for the new water park, the waterfront park being built between Blossom and Gervais Street. It was talk at a national design program that I got to go to. The designers there said it was the biggest talk in their industry right now, was that proposal that went out. That tells me something. That tells me that we're going to have something incredible that ties into our Findlay and our downtown and to Earlewood. All of our parks are now becoming centers of our communities, and that's what we wanted. So we're going to continue to do that investment. With that, I think we have some questions and programs to go through.
Can I add one more thing about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So as my colleagues were talking, I don't know if this is working. One of the things that I also wanted to emphasize is our decision-making around ensuring that these projects are sustainable has also been really intentional. We never want Finley Park to be back to where it is right now, right? So we've done things like budgeted for additional staff that can keep that park activated so that we can prevent some of the challenges that we've had over the last several years with that park. We're constantly looking at ways in which, industry practices that are evolving and changing, how we can best incorporate those to ensure that when we all leave council, that we pass it on to the next council that is set up for success. So yes, I sometimes can be very impatient about change because change takes time in government, but know that things are moving relatively quickly, and we are constantly looking at ways in which we can make things better and set up our future for success.
Thank you.
Hello. Awesome. Well, one thing is, I know that you could present a question when you came in. We'll still accept questions now. We have Amy over here. I heard some people took cards. We are going to answer all the questions. I will say if there is a personal aspect to the question, we will follow up separately. So the topics will all be covered to the best extent, but we will be doing separate staff follow-up for casework, I may call it. So, our first question is someone has had a problem with code enforcement and is called to report overgrown lots, vacant lots, cars parking in front in the Lincoln Park community. What are we doing there? What is the status of code enforcement and council's work with them?
I didn't hear the first part. They said they're having problems with code enforcement?
Yes.
Well, I think our first step would be is we'll sit down with Mr. Hatcher and dig into what's going there. I guess understanding more of the details about what the concerns are, because there are certain things, obviously, that go through court. There's Mr. Hatcher right there. Wave your hand to everybody. He's the man. So, folks, if you got the question, we can sit down with Mr. Hatcher right after this and talk about it, but we can go through each one of those in status and really understand and make sure that we're addressing those problems. But we have folks here to do that.
Perfect. Our next question or comment is someone that is concerned about the future of the city's independence, given the repeal of the conversion therapy ordinance, and after the legal action was threatened. Can y'all just give kind of a status on that?
Well, I mean, I think there's different things we got to talk about. Number one, in 2022, the state passed Act 235, and Act 235 prohibits any city from doing a resolution, ordinance, or anything that prohibits a medical licensed clinician or medical doctor from any type of procedure. So there wasn't a threat from the state. We were already behind. What we did is we just didn't address the issue. We left it alone and just left it there. Then it became a political nightmare. The threat of funding was already set in place. Now, we weren't just talking about $3.4 million. We were talking about a lot more money that could potentially, that $204 million we got from the feds, the $80 million that we got there, we're talking about $300 million. So what we've got to do is continue to work with our legislature on that. Now, there's certain things. There is no home rule. I don't know, people keep saying home rule. There is no home rule. The reality is what the feds say the state has to follow, and what the state says we have to follow. But we have an opportunity as a community to continue to push and work together. Now, we're going to protect every individual. We have opportunities to protect people with existing laws on the books, and we will enforce those. And we will continue to do that. We will also continue to advocate at the State House level at every point to make sure that we protect our citizens the best we can. But the reality is that situation was very complex and has a lot more to it. It's not just as simple as you're losing your independence. That's not very much the truth at all.
Can I add something, Mayor? I think the mayor is being modest and doesn't want to let the cat out of the bag. Is that the right saying? I always mess him up. But we are working on establishing a commission. And I think what we envisioned was a commission that could really look at that index, and we thought that we could do better serving the community through different things, if that makes sense. And so all I will say is, if you all listen out for maybe the next month or two, you'll hear more information about a new commission that is being started that will hold us accountable. That is a part of it, holding us accountable, as well as serving, I think, as a liaison for what the city can do better. And we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Our next question is, will Columbia continue the SHINE program that many seniors are having a hard time getting repairs done? And I believe Ms. Kilgore is in the room, but is speaking to the housing a little more.
Well, obviously, we want to continue all the programs, and one of the things that we will definitely want to do is the program that we did with the state was the best program and the best opportunity we had, because we actually could get projects done, and in the Belvedere neighborhood, we got over 50 homes done with that funding. That's what we're going to be advocating at the state level this year, is to get more funding, working with our legislative partners. I want to thank Representative Howard, Senator Devine, and Representative Chris Hart. The three of them got us $5 million that we made a huge difference. One of the things that we are advocating at the higher level, at the federal level, is I'm going to be meeting next month with the Secretary of HUD, and part of the reason is meeting with him is to sit down with him and say, look at what we've been able to do when you take the handcuffs off of us. When you take all that regulatory work, we can actually deliver projects, we can actually get things done, and we're able to get a lot more homes done than we ever could with federal dollars. The costs are significantly less. The timing is quicker. Right now, just rebuilding a house, if we were in HUD, we'd be waiting a year. We are able to do it in 60 to 70 days. That's what our average house build has been on these recovery houses that we've done. 60 to 70 days delivering brick, 1,300 square foot house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So we're going to advocate, continue to work, and bring these different programs so our community development can celebrate the next 50 years with success.
Perfect. We have 3 more right now for timing. The next one is, what is council doing to improve the walkability of the wider city area and the usability of public transit, including reducing route times, taking 60 minutes to go 5 miles to work at USC is not viable?
So from the walkability standpoint, as you know, as we're finishing our greenways, but also our downtown urban connectivity, looking at obviously shrinking our roads, what we call a road diet, creating bump outs, making it easier for pedestrians to go around. We have a DOT secretary right now who's been unbelievable to work with so far. I mean, even some of the things that we've talked about in years past that they've said no to, they're willing to work with us to do that, to improve the better pedestrian. As it comes to the comment, all I can say is that my councilwoman here sits on the comment board and she can help us, but their funding, thank you for all of you who voted for the penny sales tax, because now for the next 20 years, they don't have to look behind and figure out how to have funding and how to improve the services, because I know one of the things they're working on is the micro transit. A lot of other cities are doing that. That's filling gaps so that you don't have those long periods of wait. It's allowing them to use the micro to get people, fill those gaps, if it's line extensions or even internally, where it doesn't make sense for a big bus to stop. This smaller can get people from point A to point B, and I'll hand it over to the councilwoman.
And I'll just add a couple of things that we are excited about at the comment. We just changed our technology. I could not give you the proper name of how we count the number of people who are using the buses. And what we found is under the new software, we were underestimating the usage by about 40%. So that's really good, because a lot of things, of course, are driven by the number of people who are using the system. So we're looking forward to that, and we just got that first report, I think, last month in our last meeting. Another thing that we're looking at is looking at each and every different route. Every route runs either every 30 minutes or every hour, and the different stops that we have in between. We literally do analyze every single route to make sure that they're as efficient as they can be. And as we start working on not just the center downtown, and I'm only going to say this because I just learned it, and I'm kind of proud that I learned something, but no longer are transportation systems doing the spoke and wheel. So traditionally, we had everything came downtown, and I don't care if you were going from side A to side D, you always had to go through the middle. Where Columbia is trying to get, like a lot of other places, where you don't have to go downtown, because sometimes it's just not necessary to go downtown. And so as we start building those types of things out, it is our hope that the transportation time, of course, will be a lot less than what it is now.
Perfect. The mayor mentioned the improvement of the fire department fleet. However, an engine was recently down and something was mixed. What is the city doing to fix this and support the fire department?
Well, I'd hand that to the chief, but I will tell you that we're doing everything we can. I know our city manager and this council continues to invest in the fire department. I don't know about that individual equipment, but I will tell you that I know that our guys are on top of it, and we're going to continue to invest to make sure that they have all the resources they need, because the one thing we want to do is make sure our firefighters are safe and our public's safe.
And the final question. With the high percentage of vacant lots and parking lots at surface level, what can the city do to incentivize or enforce to push private property owners to develop these underutilized properties and empty buildings?
So, this is one of the things as part of our Dream Key program. We went to Charlotte, we've been to Atlanta, we've been to these other cities to see what they're doing, and a lot of what we saw was they created a land trust, because a lot of the land is owned by Air Properties and others, and bringing folks in and showing them how we can work with them to get this developed. I think this program that we put together that we're working with founders and others is a great way for us to show folks how we can redevelop those properties and get them to fill the gaps. I mean, with 2,100 empty lots across the city in various sizes, we don't have a land problem, we got a housing problem. And appropriately working with each one of our neighborhoods to find out where's the appropriate place for duplexes, where's the appropriate place for townhomes, how do we use our water and sewer as an incentive to help those lots get developed? Because right now, a lot of those empty land they're paying $300-400 a year in taxes. There's no incentive. We've got to show them that they're keeping us from growing. Our neighborhoods are not growing. If you go a half a mile from here, you'll go through a section where there's 30 lots empty. You go to Martin Luther King neighborhood, they had 152 empty lots in that neighborhood. And they've been empty for 20 years, so it's not that somebody was forced out, it's just that people have left over a period of time. We need to rebuild those, and we need to incentivize those folks to do that. First is we have to identify them and show them what we already have in place. And then if they don't want to do it, then sell it to us or sell it to somebody else. Let's get those houses built in there and solve that gap. That's why we have a third party to help us identify it. They've been very successful to be able to do that in other cities, and that's what we want to happen here. As we look at abandoned buildings downtown, what qualifies folks to make the investment on the historical side? Does it qualify for historical? Can we put the Bailey bill on that so that somebody has the incentive? The one that drives me absolutely crazy every day is the one I see when I come to work every day, which is the old Veterans Building. That is a beautiful housing option in the heart of the city, overlooking the park and the Skyway, and we haven't been able to get it done. And what was crazy is the last folks who worked on that that project, the appraisals did not accept the Bailey bill as being something real. Even after the city wrote letters, our legal department, I wrote a letter, everything, which kept them from getting the finance. They would be under construction right now. So finding the right lending partners, finding the right construction partners, and we got great design teams here. I mean, Garvin Design, what they've been able to do, Mark Hood and others, but we got to show other people the path and the incentives and how it will work so that they take those buildings and we get them filled, because life, the more people we have living downtown, the more businesses, the more restaurants, the more retail, the more reason those 16 million visitors that come here will spend the night, because we're at 5.7 million hotel nights. Think about if we got to 8 million. What that would do for our economy. That means people are spending money all the way across everywhere. So we've got to increase more of that density and incentive-based for those folks to take on those projects, and we have them in place. Our staff has been doing it for years. We just got to make sure they understand how it works.
And I just want to add, in terms of the Dream Key partnership, which was recently announced, there's going to be an opportunity for all of you. They're going to be, hosting listening sessions and focus groups to understand what your vision is in terms of filling some of these lots and creating more density in Columbia. And I highly recommend that you all engage, because sometimes the power of the people and community coming together and saying this is what we want can really help move the needle and maybe not make people maybe so fearful of that change, which we know is much needed in terms of developing more housing and developing more options. And then the other thing I would just add there is, as we work with our partners, as a member of the Economic Development Committee, one of the things that we've tried to do this year is to really develop numbers and metrics that we can all share across our partnerships and really be able to say, this is what we accomplished because we all have this vision of creating more jobs, or keeping more students here, or building a stronger talent pipeline, or providing, entrepreneurs with the opportunity to grow their businesses. And so I think if you go back and look at some of the discussions that we've had, we've really been intentional about ensuring that everybody's on the same page in terms of what Columbia needs, as well as what we consider success in the work that we're doing in terms of our partnerships to build the city.
Thank you.
With no other questions, I do have one exciting thing. A lot of y'all entered a raffle from Columbia Water, and so we're going to draw those names.
Is it a free water bill?
We do have community development here that does assist if you're in hardship. But I'm going to pull, and we have our very own Vanna White here. Oh goodness. Oh, Miss Regina Williams has won a Columbia Water bag. She is right here. It's Miss Kay Patterson has won the other one. Thank y'all. It's just a little...
Madam President. Thank y'all for coming. I'll be hanging around to answer any questions.